Hello everyone and welcome to this Total War Warhammer 2 launch day free-for-all. So guys, I'm actually spectating the game. We got 4 other players in here battling it out, so I'll be doing a bit of a live cast. So we have Dr. Schill, who's going to be playing the Dark Elves, we have Italian Spartacus, who's going to be piloting the High Elves, Pharaoh of War, who's going to be playing the Lizardmen, and then last but not least, we have Black Iron leading the mighty Skaven hordes. So it looks like Black Iron over here is going to be using Queek Headtaker. It's definitely pretty fun, good assassin character. Even though he does have like an anti-infantry bonus, he's still very good against large targets because he does have this Verminous Valor ability and Trophy Heads. So Trophy Heads lowers their melee defense so hard. It's actually by 55, so pretty powerful there. It looks like for the Dark Elves over here, hopefully we get to see Malekith, not sure. Looks like he does have Malekith, actually on foot, interesting. So usually you see him up on the Black Dragon. So Italian Spartacus is over here, he's using a Prince. So the Prince is the melee specialist for the High Elves. Looks like he does have some Eagle Claw Bolt Throws back here. So he's definitely going to start getting some points pretty early on here. But it looks like the Skaven are already taking the lead with 103 points. But that's only due to the Plague Claw Catapult. So man, making some really good contact right here on Pharaoh of War's Saurus Warriors in the back line. So Pharaoh's coming over. He does have the Skink Priest up on this this pterodactyl. I'm just going to call it a pterodactyl. I can't even remember. But guys, the pterodactyl can actually drop rocks. So I think it only has one charge. But nonetheless, it'll still do pretty well for itself. So looks like Black Iron over here is doing a little bit of turtling. But Pharaoh of War does pop a Flock of Doom over on the front line. Nice little hit there. It's going to hit these Warp Fire Throwers as well as some of these Clan Rats in the front line. And I definitely like this tactic. When I play the Lizardmen, they're definitely a bully faction. They're very aggressive, they hit hard, they can do a ton of shock damage, so I like to just kind of blitzkrieg the Skaven because they're relatively squishy. So you can get in there and do some pretty good damage and rack up a lot of points, but we'll see how it goes. So Pharaoh is engaging. You can see he does have 39 kills, but Black Iron really taking a strong lead with those catapults so far. Over here on the other side, Italian Spartacus is marching up the middle to take point. He does have some Dragon Princes over on the far side, and he does have the Lore Master of Hoeth, who is my favorite caster on the High Elf roster. Incredibly cool. He has like Earthblood and a bunch of other good abilities. So over here you can see that it looks like Black Iron is going to get sandwiched. So over here in the battle you can see that the Skink cohorts have engaged against these rats in the front line. And they're both kind of fodder units for the most part, the Skinks and the Clan Rats, but it looks like these are actually Storm Vermin. So these guys are the elite tanky front line, but a very, very nice Flock of Doom from Pharaoh of War hitting those guys. But man, you can see those Plague Claw Catapults just doing devastating damage to the Saurus Warriors. But now it is time for Krokgar. So Krokgar's going to storm through those Storm Vermin. And that was the worst pun. But yeah, he's getting in there. He's charging in, doing a little bit of DPS. But you can see Black Iron intercepts him immediately with those Rat Ogres, doing some massive kind of obstruction right there. And the Warp Fire Cannons are coming in and just fireballs and lightning from all angles. My FPS dropping. I think that was Italian Spartacus kind of creeping from the side. On the other side of the battlefield, you can see the Dark Elves have engaged over here with Black Iron's secondary force. So this is really a tough situation to be in, getting sandwiched from both sides. So, at the end of the day, though, Black Iron is getting a ton of points right here, just doing so much damage. But the problem being is that his army is going to get flattened by these two forces right now. And there is a point value at the end of the game. So when the game ends, you get extra points for what you have left. So there is some value to being the last man standing. However, if Black Iron can accumulate enough of a lead right now, it could potentially be worth it. So Italian Spartacus is kind of perching up on the hill. He does have his Prince here. He's got some Phoenix Guards, Swordmasters of Hoeth, a very, very elite army. It's definitely going to be scary once they get engaged. But you can see in the back, Dr. Schill, very, very well played on his part. He did take out Italian Spartacus' Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower with the Dark Riders. So the Dark Riders are actually a Vanguard unit, very, very solid. And I think they only cost like 500 or 600, so... Italian Spartacus. I know him as Ryan because we actually went to college together. But Italian Spartacus is going to be advancing right now, and he might have a pretty good situation here because one of the big weaknesses of the High Elves in general is their infantry are very susceptible to artillery fire. So now that the Skaven have been taken offline for the most part, I guess they have a pretty big horde of units right here, but you can see the Lizardmen are just pushing through so aggressively. These Saurus Warriors doing some pretty good damage in the front line, and he had to split his forces. So had the Skaven had its entire force fighting the Lizardmen, it would have been a very even fight most likely. But in this situation, it's going to be rough. But a very nice Blade Storm from Malekith. That is from the Lore of Darkness, so that's actually coming across from Dr. Schill over there. Dropping a nice little bomb right there. Definitely some good stuff. But now Italian Spartacus is coming from the high ground. Oh man, and I was about to make a prequel meme. But anyways, the Lothern Sea Guard right here getting a nice little volley on the Dark Shards, and it'll be a relatively even trade. However, the Dark Shards do have silver shields, so they are the variant that's kind of meant for missile to missile. And you can see we're about to have a pretty pitched fight right here as these Dark Elf infantry are going to be advancing. But Bleak Swords and Dark Shards right here, and even the Black Art of Nagaron, none of them are going to have a great matchup versus these Swordmasters of Hoeth. But a very nice engagement in the back with these Dark Riders getting into the missiles. But something about the Lothern Sea Guard is they do have an anti-large bonus, so they're actually really good at defending against enemy cap. And Italian Spartacus does pull in his Dragon Princes right here, who are going to be laying a huge smackdown on these Dark Riders, just instantly massacring them. So over here on the Lizardmen slash Skaven fight, we do have these skink skirmishers back here. So these guys with their little blow darts. Somebody on the Reddit the other day made a pretty good comment, like, how do they actually use the blow dart gun if they don't have lips? You know, it's kind of a funny thing to think about. But the rat ogres over here are going to be kind of pressing them off, and the storm vermin, though beat up, still have 123 models, so they're definitely not in horrible shape. A very, very close fight, despite this Skaven player having his forces very split. You can see Big Daddy Krokar is coming in here right now. He's going to be stomping the yard a little bit. But the the storm vermin plus the rat ogres are both very, very good counters to Krokar. You can see that Black Iron over here is going to be summoning some clan rats over here with the Lore of Plague, so definitely getting pretty wild. And Black Iron actually does have his catapults back online. You know, I really thought he was done for, like 100%. But then Italian Spartacus came in and started to pressure the Dark Elves, which kind of freed up the Skaven flank over here, and he was able to bring his other troops to battle Pharaoh War. So if we look at the overall score right now, it's 6,300 for Black Iron, Dr. Shill has 5,000, Pharaoh of War at 4.6, and Italian Spartacus at 3.4. However, Italian Spartacus just started fighting, so if he keeps the pressure on and keeps a healthy infantry corps, he could probably go and clean up this force, and then if he still does have a lot of troops left at the end of the battle, he's going to get a pretty big bonus there. So you can see Italian Spartacus is coming around with some of these Dragon Princes who are very, very beastly. They have 44 weapon strength, a charge bonus of 80, but what's really nice about Dragon Princes is the fact that they have a 30% ward save against physical. A nice Flock of Doom over there from the Lore of Beast, and I believe that was the little Skink Priest, and you can see that Black Iron does indeed have his Plague Claw catapult back online. So he's starting to shoot at Italian Spartacus right here and doing some decent damage to some of these Swordmasters over here, which is not what he wants. But man, what a wild, just bloody fight this has been over here. You can see the Skaven are just, fighting Rat Tail and Claw against these Lizardmen. You can see the Temple Guard in here starting to push back a little bit. This fight is just so back and forth. The Temple Guard are a very even match with Stormvermin. They're pretty much like essentially the same unit with very different scalings, of course, one being a little bit cheaper than the other. It looks like a big kind of ability going down right here. So what is that? So Bless with Filth. So I guess, is it imbuing them with poison? Oh, I think that's what it does. So this is actually a Lore of Plague ability. So you can give your rats essentially poison. So now these Storm Vermin and all these other guys now have poison application, which is really, really going to turn the tide against these Temple Guard and other guys right here, I would imagine. He still does have some Rat Ogres, and you can see that there's still a Bastillodon rampaging about with some skinks on the side throwing spears. This is the one with the Revivification Crystal. I just can never say that. This one has 10 healing charges. It's very powerful. I actually look forward to trying it in regular quick battle. So he's continuing to fight right here, doing some pretty good damage. But nonetheless, I think the Storm Vermin are going to be able to defend these guys off. He does also have a Plague Priest right here. And where is the Skaven Lord? Is Queek anywhere around? He's probably skulking around in the shadows somewhere. So over here on this side of the battlefield, you can see Italian Spartacus does have his Prince up in the air, and he's going to be rear charging this War Hydra. So very, very well played there, getting some good DPS in. He does also have some archers here in the back, so those actually weren't the Sea Guard. I thought they were, but nonetheless, they still do have very good range damage. Pretty good range as well with 180, but he does have his Lore Master of Hoeth down here. I think, yeah, it's actually in pretty good health, so he still does have a pretty good, core of heroic units. And you can see Italian Spartacus is at 6.8 right now, kind of climbing back into the ranks. So even though he came into the battle very late, he still has a pretty good chance here to catch up. Since he has so many healthy troops, he has his Prince, he has all these Swordmasters right here, he has some archers who are chasing off this shattered War Hydra. Definitely some tough stuff. So Dr. Shill has been eliminated. All of his forces have shattered, so now it's pretty much anyone's game here. Pharaoh of War is looking a little bit beat up, however. You can see Krokar has taken quite a bit of damage. But, some of that artillery and those Storm Vermin were able to really fend off the dinos over here. So Krokar is at about 4,000 HP, so it's not as bad as it looks, and he does have some decent healing capabilities with Cold Blood. You can see that Skink Priest up in the air dropping a very nice Flock of Doom. And also some Warp Fire coming into the Skaven are ever sneaky over here. Getting a nice little flank right here, and they do have that the Flame Attack. Does very good against light armor, so against, not so much against Temple Guard, although their armor is being mitigated. So this is something that I didn't really take into account when I was first looking at Queek. Queek has an ability that gives all nearby troops negative 18 armor. So you can see these Temple Guard have gotten a huge mitigation on their armor, and then these Warp Fire throwers over here are going to do some pretty good work, as a result. But you can see Pharaoh of War responding in kind. He does have his cold ones. Gonna open a cold one with these rats over here and chase them down. And just let me know, guys, when you get sick of that cold one joke, and I'll do my best to kind of cease saying it on the channel. But the cold ones are riding down some of these rats here, and you actually do need some AP against these Warpfire throwers, if I'm not mistaken. No, the Globuleers are the ones with 100 armor. The Warpfire only have 40. So let's take an overarching look at things. So Italian Spartacus has really reformed ranks. You can see the discipline of the High Elves really coming through. He does have these Swordmasters of Hoeth. Right here, he has 2 groups of those and some Phoenix Guard. In the back, he does also have some archers right here. And his Prince is also in very good health. So it's going to be really tough. You can see Pharaoh War, and it looks like they're actually maybe forming a bit of an alliance. You can see Queek back here is still alive. Sneaky little rat. So I wanted to show you guys something. So Queek does have this, it's called the Warp Shard armor. So you see that radius? Negative 18 armor. That's actually really good. Could potentially make him, competitive. Italian Spartacus breathing some nice Starfire breath down here on Krokar, and Krokar is taking a ton of damage right now. You can see his leadership is 23. He definitely needs to, potentially finish off these Dragon Princes with the cold ones. But, the problem is this Prince right here, a Star Dragon, is the strongest dragon in the game. It is a monster. It has over 600 weapon strength right now. And if it's able to get on Krokar, he's going to rout off, 100%. So Italian Spartacus really coming in hot and securing a huge lead with 11,000 right now. You can see Black Iron in second place, but his forces, again, he did take a ton of damage early from both sides, so he really got sandwiched. And that's kind of the one downside with bringing artillery in free-for-all is, I find, like, for example, when the Mortal Empires comes out and you're playing the Dwarves, if you have a bunch of cannons, you're going to get sandwiched, I think, and you might get a lot of points early on, but I feel like it's going to hurt you in the late game. Having a little bit of mobility is definitely nice. However, the Skaven do have really good artillery, so I definitely think it's worth bringing some. The Bastillodon right here is taking a ton of archer fire, so very, very well played. And these are the Lothern Sea Guard guys, so these are the ones with anti-large. You can see they're basically spear archers. They have a weapon strength of 28 with a bonus first large of 16, which is huge. So very good at kind of dealing with the dinos. So this Bastillodon is broken. You can see there's some skinks up here on the high ground and a ton of skink skirmishers for Pharaoh War over here. So he's going to probably need to, he needs to work with Black Iron right now. If I was still in the Discord chat with him, I would be telling them to work together. But, what they really need to do right now is have him split his forces out this way and start to kind of occupy Italian Spartacus over here and have the skinks kind of start shooting at these swordmasters, because they need to crack this army if they want any chance of winning. But to be honest, the Star Dragon is so darn strong, and I don't think they really have any chance of kind of taking it out. And you can see the Star Dragon actually, does it kill Krokar? It actually chased him off the map. So Krokar is kind of out of the picture now. But still, you can see that Black Iron is coming back a little bit. He still does have some forces. He has this Plague Priest right here who does have some very nice Vortex abilities and kind of AoE cones. So he could potentially do some decent damage right here, but he's most likely out of Winds of Magic at this point. Also, Italian Spartacus has a very, very healthy Lore Master of Foeth right here, who is an outstanding duelist. You can see he has 360 weapon strength, good AP, and pretty good combat stats across the board, rocking 60 melee defense, which is incredible. You can see Queek over here is kind of picking up the scraps, being true rats over here, just trying to clean up whatever's left. And these Temple Guard are probably going to break right here. But Pharaoh War still does have these skirmishers online, so if you could start like poking at some of these swordmasters here who are pretty beat up, that after these guys were dealt with, all Italian Spartacus would really have left would be these archers who are getting pretty close to running out of ammunition. This one group of archers is actually completely out, and these Lothern Sea Guard right here are actually about half health or half ammunition, give or take. So they're actually teeing off on that Skink Priest, who unfortunately has broken off the battlefield. So maybe these skirmishers are going to start shooting that Star Dragon. I mean, the Star Dragon does have the breath attack, which isn't the best against like fodder units. You can see all those poison darts are shooting up there. And hey, these are points that he's racking up, and it is slowing the dragon down to 61 speed. So very, very nice poke there from Pharaoh War in the fourth quarter. You can see that Queek here, unfortunately, is trying his darndest, but he's going to get run over by these angry dragon princes. So, and Queek's quite a bit of fun. When I first saw him and played in the pre-release, I wasn't really like a huge fan of him, because he's doesn't have the best stats, but he does have some kind of niche abilities like the Verminous Fowler and the Head Taker and that armor ability, which I just showed you guys, which is really strong. So pretty much right now, it's just Pharaoh of War with his skinks right now who are, trying to poke down the prince, and actually did, 800, 900 damage, and they can fire while moving. So you can see they actually turn and fire their little blow darts, but the dragon princes are just coming in all angry. I think there's only 13 of them left, so they probably won't be able to kind of clean up shop here, but some cold ones in the back actually from Pharaoh of War. So there's still some troops kind of scrapping and fighting. He does have his crystal back there, which could potentially, heal these guys up. Although there's only 12 models, so there's probably not a lot of HP. And the problem is Italian Spartacus does have these what are they called? I'm still learning all of these units. The Sea Guard. So the Sea Guard do have the anti-large, but it looks like a coordinated attack right here with the skinks and the cold ones. So the cold ones charge in, and they're just going to get run down by the dragon princes. You can see they're falling pretty quickly here. So very, very well played. I actually thought in the beginning that the Lizardmen might be able to overwhelm that flank, but this Skaven Black Iron did an exceptional job of holding, like against two people. Like he got run over by Dr. Schill on one flank, and then and actually held pretty well on both flanks, despite being attacked and having to split his forces. And then Italian Spartacus kind of bided his time, and he came up here, secured a nice high ground position, and was able to kind of clip the Dark Elves as they were fighting the Skaven, and then was able to come and kind of clean up the fight over here. So man, really, really well played by all parties. But as cool as these skinks are, I don't think they're going to be able to clean up here. It looks like Italian Spartacus might be giving them kind of a ceremonial death here, charging in with these dragon princes here. But the princes are probably going to go down to any amount of focus fire. But he really should probably advance these sword masters and other troops right now. But it looks like he is sending his prince back here to potentially take out the Temple Guard. Yeah, so there's some Temple Guard. And he probably doesn't want that crystal coming back online. But you can see the little skinks on top of the Bastillodon are actually throwing spears at this prince up here, which is pretty funny. So it looks like Italian Spartacus is going to be reforming ranks again. He is out of ammunition though, so he doesn't really have a choice other than to engage. However, guys, the skinks themselves do have 48 movement speed, and the fastest troop I think Italian has is 33, 33. The archers have 36, so they could waddle a little bit faster. And the dragon princes, with poison being applied, have pretty much no chance. But honestly, these skinks could shoot all day at this lore master and probably won't be able to kill him. He just has too much armor. And you can see some fire coming down from the Sea Guard. And Italian Spartacus, his prince has landed back here, but the Temple Guard are actually holding. This is not a good situation. The Temple Guard might do, 500-600 HP damage on this guy. And potentially, it's not going to be enough. He's just too powerful right now. And you can see the Bastiladon has kind of routed off in the back line. So right now it's just kind of the skinks, and you can see Italian Spartacus trying to get a little bit of a surround. He gets his Swordmasters here and tries to form a bit of a concave, which I like quite a bit. And the skinks, unfortunately for Pharaoh, are not targeting the Dragon Princes. So they're probably going to come in here and get a nice little ride down. So this is going to be a party. So here they come. They got their lances out, but it looks like they got poisoned at the last second. But there they go. They charge into some of those poor little skinks. So that's probably going to be a wavering and an army losses at that point. Yeah, you can see these ones are wavering. These ones are actually shaken, which is, I'm surprised it's not worse. But there's no way. There's way too much armor. Swordmasters have 90. I think, yeah, and the Phoenix Guard have 100, so it's just the Skinks AP is so poor. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. It was definitely quite a fun battle. And I really, my predictions were pretty poor. I feel like one of those like NFL or MMA, analysts who's like, oh yeah, he's got all the stats and definitely has all the makings to win this match. But man, FFA is really unpredictable. There's it's just so many variables, so many things going on, so many different angles of attack. Different tactics. I mean, you could see like doom wheels and just hordes of rats. There's so much cool stuff. So very well played to Italian Spartacus, the winner of this match, the victor. Pharaoh War, Black Iron, and Dr. Shill, and I believe they all have YouTube channels. So I'll do my best to link to their channels. Definitely go check them out. They're going to be doing a ton of FFA games and multiplayer matches and all that kind of good stuff, and a bunch of good dudes for sure. So thanks again for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this free-for-all cast, and guys, I got a lot more content coming soon.